The chime on the hill. The children sat on the green grass. All around them, the meadows stretched far and wide under the blue sky. They all gathered around their grandfather, who was smoking a pipe on a wooden stool, looking thoughtfully at a hill in the distance. "Tell us a story, grandfather," said one of the children. "Yes, tell us about the countries overseas or your journeys over the mountains," one of the children suggested. The others soon joined in with more suggestions. "Very well, settle down and be in your best behavior. There, that's a calm little herd," he said, then puffed out a smoke in the shape of a cow. "When I was a child about your age, I had been a shepherd, as were my father and grandfather. Best part of it all, you get to explore the forest and hill far from home. There was a certain cow, my favorite cow she was, and had been my companion for a very long time. Molly was her name, bright-eyed, white-furred, and with a black spot under her eye, like a mole. We were the best of friends, and she came on many of my boyish adventures. One time I ventured to the hill you see over there, with many pine trees running down its slope." He pointed, and the children looked up over their shoulders. "We call that Time Hill. It has always been my favorite spot for exploration. One day, as I was hunting for bugs, I found, on one bank of the river, a golden bell with pretty writing all over it. The most beautiful thing in the world that you could ever lay your eye on." The children gasped and opened their eyes wide, expecting the grandfather to pull the bell from his trouser pockets. "Oh, where is it?" yelped one of the children. "Show it to us. Just one little peek, please." The grandfather sighed and cleaned his pipe with a white cloth. "Sadly, I don't have it." The children let out an awe of disappointment. "However, I will tell you what happened to it. That is an interesting tale in of itself. When I found the bell, naturally, I was dazzled by it and looked around for fear of someone watching and stealing it from me. There was no one around except Molly, my best cow. 'Hush, Molly,' I whispered into her ears. 'Don't tell anyone about our little secret.' And then I hid the bell in a little hollow in one of the trees. Then I made a special mark to recognize it from the others. From that day on, I would go with Molly to look at the marvelous bell and to play with it and to hear its magical sound. After a week or two, Molly was nowhere to be found. I wondered where she had gone and looked everywhere, but never found her. Incidentally, that was when the bell disappeared too. I left no stones unturned, but nothing was found. Not the bell, not Molly. Time went on, and I grew older, naturally, as all things should be. The memories of the bell and Molly faded for some time. Soon after marriage, I found myself walking under the trees on the very hill on which I found the bell, when suddenly a familiar sound rang out. Billing, tilling. "It's the bell!" cried the tallest of the children. Indeed it was. Faint the sound was, but undoubtedly it was the very bell I lost many years ago. Before I could even begin to look for it, the jingling faded into the sound of wind and trees. I tried to look for it, but in vain, for the sound disappeared, and I turned home in great disappointment. Perhaps it was my imagination, I said to myself. Then, on this very spot, children, I saw her under the shade of the trees over the hill. Yes, it was far away, but I am certain that it was Molly, and to my surprise, unchanged by the passage of time. I ran towards the hill, but again Molly vanished into the woods. I thought it was a dream, and I had my doubts, but not when I grew grey and saw her on a similar occasion did I realize that it was no mere dream. And one more thing, he leaned forward and said in a whisper, that bell is no ordinary bell. It must have extended her life, for she appeared unchanged for all these years. Or at least that's what I think. There was silence, and the children looked at each other and then at the hill. "Let's go and find the magic bell and Molly!" cried the children to one another, and jumped up to their feet when they saw the grandfather pointing at the foot of the hill. There, surely, under the shades of the tree, a white speck could be seen, and a faint echoing jingle could be heard from across the meadows. Belling, telling. In great excitement, all the children ran across the green meadow, surging toward the white speck on the hill. Many years had passed, but to this day, none through the many generations of the grandfather could the cow be found. There she dwelled and grazed as she pleased for a very, very long time.